You know what's absolutely infuriating? The fact that we've been fed this carefully constructed narrative about Taylor Swift's relationship with Travis Kelce for over a year now, and only now, in episode 4 of the End of an Era Docuseries, are we finally seeing what's really been happening behind closed doors. And let me tell you, what I discovered in this episode completely changed everything I thought I knew about this couple. The NFL wants you to believe one thing, the media wants you to accept another, but the truth is so much more complex and frankly, so much more concerning than anyone is talking about. Before we dive deep into the shocking revelations from episode 4, I need you to do something for me. Drop a comment right now telling me, do you think Travis Kelce would be getting this much attention if he wasn't dating Taylor Swift? Be honest, because what I'm about to show you suggests that this entire relationship might be orchestrated for reasons that have nothing to do with love. Let's talk about what actually happened in episode 4 of the End of an Era, because mainstream media is completely glossing over the most important details. The episode opens with behind-the-scenes footage from the Era's tour during a period when Taylor and Travis first went public with their relationship. And here's where things get interesting, and by interesting, I mean absolutely calculated. The footage shows Taylor in her dressing room approximately 2 hours before showtime at one of her October 2023 concerts. She's on FaceTime with Travis, who's supposedly recovering from a game. Now, pay attention to this because it matters. Taylor is laughing, completely absorbed in their conversation, while her entire team is bustling around her trying to prepare her for a 3.5-hour performance. Her vocal coach is waiting. Her dancers are in formation. Her costume team is on standby. But Taylor? She's twirling her hair and giggling like a teenager. One of her team members, whose name was blurred out in the docuseries, actually says on camera, and I quote, "I'd never seen her like this before. She was always so focused, so professional, but with him, it was like watching a completely different person emerge." Now here's my question for you, and I want you to really think about this before you comment. Is this footage showing us genuine love, or is this showing us someone so caught up in the fantasy of a relationship that she's losing sight of her professionalism? Drop your thoughts below because this gets so much deeper. The documentary then cuts to Travis at a Chiefs practice, and this is where the obsession becomes mutual and frankly, a little unsettling. Travis is shown checking his phone between drills. Not once, not twice. But the footage shows him glancing at his phone 17 times during a 40-minute practice session. His teammates are shown exchanging glances. His coach, Andy Reid, is literally filmed shaking his head in what appears to be frustration. Patrick Mahomes actually addresses this in a confessional-style interview for the docuseries. He says, and these are his exact words, "Travis has always been focused, always been about the game. But that season, something shifted. He was physically there, but mentally, you could tell half of him was somewhere else." Let me ask you something, and I want your honest opinion in the comments. If your performance at work dropped because you were obsessed with your relationship, what would happen? You'd probably get fired, right? But because Travis Kelce is dating America's sweetheart, we're all supposed to pretend this is romantic instead of recognizing it for what it actually is, a distraction that could cost his team championships. The docuseries includes a particularly revealing segment where Taylor is shown planning her entire tour schedule around Travis's game schedule. A tour manager, whose identity is also protected in the documentary, reveals that Taylor specifically requested to have certain international dates moved so she could attend more games. We're talking about moving concerts that were booked 2 years in advance, affecting hundreds of thousands of fans, multiple venues, and countless crew members' schedules. Here's what nobody is talking about: the financial implications of these changes. Moving a stadium tour date isn't like rescheduling a dentist appointment. We're talking millions of dollars in logistics, rebooking fees, venue conflicts, and disappointed fans who had planned their entire lives around specific concert dates. And for what? So Taylor could be courtside at a football game? Comment below and tell me, would you be okay if your favorite artist postponed your concert so they could watch their boyfriend play sports? Because I have a feeling a lot of Swifties are staying silent about this, and that silence is telling. Episode 4 shows us something even more disturbing. There's footage of Travis after a particularly difficult loss where the Chiefs fell to the Buffalo Bills. He's in the locker room, clearly devastated, and instead of focusing on the game analysis with his team, is shown immediately trying to reach Taylor. The documentary includes audio of their phone conversation, and Travis is literally apologizing to Taylor for losing. Not to his teammates, not to the fans, to Taylor. She responds with something that should make every genuine football fan's blood boil. She says, "Baby, it's just a game. You'll win the next one. I'm still proud of you." Just a game? The NFL playoffs are just a game. This is a man's career, his legacy, his team's championship aspirations, and it's being reduced to just a game by someone who's never played a down of football in her life. Travis's response is even more concerning. He laughs and says, "You're right. As long as I have you, nothing else matters." Hold on. Let me repeat that. Nothing else matters. Not the team. Not the fans who pay hundreds of dollars for tickets. Not the legacy he's building. Nothing matters except Taylor Swift. Now, before the Swifties come for me in the comments, let me be clear about something. I'm not saying Taylor Swift is a bad person. I'm not saying Travis Kelce is a bad person. What I am saying is that this level of obsession, from both sides, is unhealthy, unprofessional, and frankly, it's being glamorized by the media when it should be criticized. Here's a trivia question for you, and this one's tough. Before dating Taylor Swift, how many Pro Bowl selections did Travis Kelce have? Drop your answer in the comments and let's see who the real football fans are in this community. The documentary reveals that Taylor has an entire group chat dedicated to discussing Travis with her friends. We're not talking about casual mentions. We're talking about a group chat that, according to the docuseries, generates over 300 messages per day. Her friends Selena Gomez and Gigi Hadid are shown in FaceTime calls where they analyze every single thing Travis does, says, or posts on social media. There's one particularly cringeworthy moment where Taylor is shown reading a text from Travis that simply says, "Good morning, beautiful," and she literally screams with joy, shows her phone to everyone in the room, and then proceeds to spend 15 minutes crafting the perfect response. 15 minutes to respond to "Good morning, beautiful." This is a woman who writes complex, poetic songs in mere hours. This is a woman who runs a billion-dollar empire, and she's spending 15 minutes figuring out how to respond to a text message. Let me know in the comments, is this what true love looks like, or is this what codependency looks like? Because from where I'm sitting, this crosses the line from romantic into obsessive territory. The most shocking revelation in episode 4 comes near the end. The documentary includes footage of a private conversation between Taylor and her publicist, Tree Payne. They are discussing the strategy around the relationship. Strategy, let that word sink in. Tree is shown presenting Taylor with polling data about how the relationship is affecting her public image, her streaming numbers, and her merchandise sales. The conversation reveals that Taylor's team conducted focus groups to determine how the public would respond to different levels of relationship visibility. They tested everything from keeping it completely private to full public integration and determined that strategic visibility at football games followed by carefully curated social media posts would yield the highest engagement and most positive sentiment. Taylor's response to this data? She says, and I'm paraphrasing here because the audio is partially muted, something along the lines of being happy that what she wants to do anyway aligns with what's good for her brand. Now, here's my question, and this is the big one: if your relationship requires focus groups and strategic planning, is it even a real relationship? Drop your most honest answer below because I genuinely want to know what you think. The documentary also shows us Travis's side of this equation. His meeting with his agent and his marketing team, and they are showing him the numbers. His Instagram following increased by 6 million after going public with Taylor. His jersey sales tripled. He landed endorsement deals worth tens of millions of dollars. Companies that had never considered him before were suddenly lining up to have him represent their brands. His agent literally says on camera, dating Taylor Swift is the best career move you've ever made. Career move. Those words should disturb every single person watching this. Because if this relationship is a career move, then what does that make Taylor? A business opportunity? A stepping stone? A marketing strategy? But here's where the story takes an even darker turn. The docuseries includes interviews with people from both Taylor's and Travis's inner circles who were asked to remain anonymous. One person, identified only as the longtime friend of Taylor, reveals that Taylor has a history of becoming completely consumed by her relationships, to the point where friends have staged interventions in the past. This friend says, "We love Taylor, but we've watched her do this before." She meets someone, decides they are her soulmate within weeks, restructures her entire life around them, and then when it inevitably falls apart, she's devastated. We were hoping this time would be different, but if anything, it's worse because of how public it is. Another anonymous source from Travis's circle says something equally concerning. Travis is a good guy, but he's also ambitious. He knows exactly what this relationship is doing for his profile. We just hope he's being genuine and not just playing along because of what it means for his career. Think about that for a second. The people closest to both of them are expressing concerns about the authenticity and sustainability of this relationship. But instead of listening to the people who know them best, they are doubling down on this obsessive behavior. Quick trivia break: how many songs has Taylor Swift written about her past relationships? Drop your best guess in the comments. Episode 4 concludes with what the documentary frames as a sweet moment, but what I view as the most troubling footage yet. Taylor and Travis are at a private dinner, and the cameras are rolling because, of course, everything is documented now. Travis tells Taylor that he's been offered a career opportunity that would require him to miss several of her tour dates. Taylor's face immediately falls. The temperature in the room drops. She doesn't say "that's great, follow your dreams." She doesn't say "we'll make it work." Instead, she says, "You can't miss those shows. I need you there. The fans expect it now. The fans expect it. Not 'I want you there,' not 'I'll miss you,' but the fans expect it." This relationship has become so performative that even their private moments are influenced by public expectation. Travis ultimately turns down the opportunity. His agent looks disappointed. His business manager looks frustrated. But Travis, completely under Taylor's spell, says he's making the right choice. Here's what I need you to understand: this documentary was supposed to be a celebration of Taylor Swift's Eras tour and this chapter of her life. Instead, what episode 4 reveals is two people who are so obsessed with each other that they are making questionable decisions that affect not just themselves, but everyone around them, their teams, their colleagues, their fans, and their careers. The NFL has seen a significant increase in female viewership since this relationship went public. Taylor's music streams increased by 47% after Travis started attending her shows. Brands are making billions off this relationship, but at what cost? We're watching two successful people potentially sabotage their own legacies because they can't maintain healthy boundaries in their relationship. And instead of having honest conversations about it, we're all supposed to post heart emojis and call it relationship goals. So here's my final question for you, and I really want you to think about this. 10 years from now, when we look back at this relationship, what do you think we'll remember? Will we remember it as a beautiful love story, or will we remember it as a cautionary tale about what happens when obsession is mistaken for love? Drop your predictions in the comments. Share this video with someone who needs to hear this perspective. And let me know, am I completely off base here, or am I the only one willing to say what everyone else is thinking? The truth is in episode 4 for anyone willing to see it. The question is, are you ready to see it? Let me know your thoughts below, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button because we're diving even deeper into this story as more episodes are released. This is News Zone 1, where we don't just report the news, we tell you what it actually means.